Welcome to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing in Northwest Arkansas.
Whether you're a seasoned investor just starting out, we bring you expert insights, market trends, and practical strategies to help you build wealth through real estate.
From buying and selling to property management and long-term investment planning, we cover it all so you can make smart, informed decisions in this fast-growing market. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast. I'm here with my co-hosts, Zach Stanley and Brian Wagers. And we've got an awesome guest today that we're excited about. We're here with Miss Desiree Stock, and she's the co-creator with Mr. Stuart Collier of NWA Look, and which really helps us unpack the latest numbers and data in Northwest Arkansas real estate. And so we're excited to just get to know her and get to know how this started for her, and then really dig into the data and help investors understand kind of what's going on and be a little bit more up to date. And she'll also talk about some platforms that she has, social media, newsletters, stuff like that you can kind of continue to stay up to date with. And we're excited about that. So thanks again for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Desiree, it's huge that you provide something like you do, because for the people listening, it's important to know the data, because if you don't know the data, you're just free willy doing stuff. And so having platforms like yourself, it's really appreciated. So thanks for doing what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Can you give us a little dive into a little bit about you, NWA Look? Just give us a 30,000 foot overview of that.
Okay. So I grew up in the real estate business. My mom's a real estate broker, and she's always kind of done the numbers. And so for me, it was just natural to bring it into my business. And so informing the public is huge. I feel like most people on the residential side make things emotional rather than a long-term goal, and it should be both. And so part of that is why we created NWA Look. And also there's no up-to-date data that's published. And so that was our idea of doing that.
Yeah. Why do you think people make it emotional as opposed to data-driven?
I would say most people, when they walk into a house, it's what colors are, the cabinets. And they can't see past, the future. Yeah. They just see the right now. This fits me right now, instead of 5 years from now, I want to move up. So what's it look like financially to move up?
It's a great point, because I think there's, I had a client recently even that they found a house that they love in a great location, and they couldn't get over the thought of like, we're paying $240 a square foot. And so I think, like you said, even beyond, obviously this is a lot of data that investors think about all the time, which is a lot of our audience, but at the same time, not only are you looking for folks that are looking for their residential home, it's something that they want to live in, and they're looking for things like that, but also it's an investment, and most people's biggest investment in a big piece of most people's net worth. So I think that's super important.
I think it's important to have, the emotional side. We try to take it out as much as possible, but I've talked about this with my investors, and it's that we need to have a little bit, because on the exit strategy for something like that, you have to think about, is someone else willing to make an emotional decision on this asset? Yeah. And so I like to try to take emotions out of it as much as possible, and as mind-numbing as that could be. There's positive and negatives to the emotion, the emotional client, and then the analytical client. It's like there's bads and goods to both. The analytical client can be like, this can be the best property in the best location, and it's a great price, but they're like, it doesn't hit my 6.758% cash on cash return. It's only a 6.754. And they're like, brother, come on. Like, this is a good deal. They don't do it. So there's pros and cons to each, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For residential, what do you guys see? This is for all you guys, for as far as emotion versus numbers, what type of upgrades do you see that are more emotional than like an actual return on it? I know, like kitchen, we spent quite a bit on our kitchen remodel just last year, and I know, there's some return there, but some of that's emotional too.
Are you asking like what things should you versus what do people do that might not get as much return? Yeah. I mean, like one I see a lot is like people put a pool in, and they think that a pool will be worth $1 to $1 on your price or your valuation, but a lot of time, I mean, it's Russian roulette on what appraiser you're going to get. Are they having a bad day and they don't care at all about the pool, or is this guy like, I have a great childhood memory with a pool. I'm going to give this 100% value. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a pool is one of those up in the air things. Kitchen.
Desiree is saying 50%. So if you spend $50,000 on a pool, it probably only increases your value $25,000. So it's really an emotional decision. Is it being able to swim in your backyard giving you more joy than a return?
Yeah.
What price do you put on joy at that point? What else do you see in as far
I would
as
say, countertops matter to people, and that's your best return, I think, on all of the upgrades that you can make. Also painting the house, you see a dark house and it just turns off all buyers.
Yeah.
And then, if you paint it, the current trend is, the white or the off-white colors.
Yes.
It's like your days on market is like half the amount.
Yeah.
I've heard paint is the best investment, as far as, residential goes. So
Yeah. Would you say that the same though for renters as well? Like your highest return on getting premium rents, is it, good paint? Is it like a nice kitchen, maybe with nice countertops, stuff like that? Is there any, on the
multifamily side,
Commercial side of things.
Yeah, commercial side. I mean, paint is a great one. Like as far as cost to increase, it's very low cost compared to the appearance of it. People say the quote that made it not as appealing is putting lipstick on a pig. It can make like a pig look good. But obviously, if you're not slumlording it, you want to do beyond that and put new roofs on, or it fix up the interiors. I think you can in multifamily. Sometimes it makes sense to resurface the countertops and put new paint on there versus like go in and put new granite countertops. It depends on the asset type.
Yeah, asset class. If you're in a B or a C or an A, 100%. Let's start by diving in a little bit into the numbers. I think a lot of people listen to this and they love the numbers and get it. I love being able on my side of things, and Brandon, you guys might as well. Like, I get a lot of the questions the same, and I'm able to hey, go watch this. And so I think this will be a great podcast for if someone's asking a lot of questions about the market, being able to hey, go check this out. This is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so let's just dive into discussing some current market trends we're seeing.
Okay.
This can really be a bunch of different things, but maybe we can dive into your stats on median price, days on market, inventory, top cities, kind of what we're looking at there, and show us what you have.
So as far as counties go, I'll kind of start, with the and then go to the micro.
Perfect.
In Benton County, the highest median price per square foot or per median price, was $411,000 in June of this year.
Okay.
And then it's kind of slowly gone down to about 400.
Okay.
Which isn't a huge drop.
Yeah. That's
and as you know, June is one of our busier months. So sometimes you end up with a little bit of multiple offer situation and push the price up. And then in Washington County, the peak price was $369, also in June, which is an 8% year over year increase.
Okay.
Which is great, showing that we're still, increasing in values.
Yeah.
And then on the average for the year, it's been about 350.
Okay. And are these current values for June to now? Is now end of September-ish kind of?
Yeah, end of September.
Okay, end of September. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, we do kind of see it die off this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the, I know we've got median price here, which is normally kind of what you'll see front page, or maybe price per square foot front page for NWA look. What are some of those top stats that you think help summarize what's going on in Northwest Arkansas?
So, definitely looking at price per square foot. If you watch, it's continually growing, whereas median price kind of flexes back and forth, and that probably depends on the square footage, of the house that's selling that month.
Yeah,
100%. And so watching the price per square foot, I think, matters a lot.
Yeah.
And then so in Benton County, we had a 12% increase year over year. And Washington County, we had 6%, which is $225 a square foot on average for Washington County, and $252 in Benton County, which seems extremely high.
Now, do we think that's inflated by downtown Bentonville as a whole? Do you think that number is?
I would say that's a part of it. There's a lot more new construction too in Benton County, and so you see
Sure.
Blood Bella Vista stuff.
you're seeing the higher end finishes as well.
I think I saw you guys put up some data. I don't know if you have it with you on price per square foot on new builds versus existing builds. I don't know if you...
I didn't pull that to bring it with. But a couple months ago, it was actually a better deal to get new construction than it was to buy a resale house.
That I was just literally just talking with a client about that. It was like crazy. I mean, and some of the crazy stuff D.R. Horton's putting out with like,
the incentives.
We'll give you a 3.875% rate on a 7-year ARM, and with a $330,000 house, and like down the street there's a $320,000 house so you can get a 7% rate at. It's like, okay, new construction all day. So it kind of hurts. I mean, D.R. Horton's essentially making their own submarket in this market.
I think they're probably influencing the lower end market more so than the mid or upper tier markets.
100%.
So a lot of people talk about buyers markets, sellers markets. How do you determine what, for those that don't know?
That's a great question.
Determine what a buyer's market is?
So in a buyer's market, it's in inventory, it would be 0 to 3 months. In a balanced market, which is where we currently are, it's 4 to 6 months. And then 6 months plus is going to be a buyer's market. Sorry.
Yeah. So the consensus is we're in basically an evenly distributed market.
What do you mean by inventory? 0 to 3 months and 4 to 6?
So as far as the number of sales that close versus the number of active listings, you can figure out how many months of inventory there are.
Yeah.
If none else were brought to market, is that how that's figured? Can't remember how we talked about that before, but you're saying if there's 4 to 6 months of inventory, if nothing else was built right now or something like that, is that how they calculate that?
Essentially that there's enough inventory for that many buyers.
Yeah.
So like 4 months worth of inventory for the next.
Would the real feel in the market feel like that to you guys as well? From what both, I mean, you got both realtors. Are you feeling that as well, kind of evenly distributed?
I do. Okay. And so I see, well-priced homes still selling fast and sometimes multiple offers. And then houses, maybe they're not in the prime area that are taking a little longer to sell.
Yeah.
So.
Do you feel that as well?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think inventory is probably, for investors especially, probably the most important number to be acquainted with. I think, a stat that goes around a lot nowadays, I think, is that we're up 30% in active inventory where we were to last year, and you could probably speak more to that. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment for sure. Probably as we get into wintertime, you may agree with this as well, but there's going to be less buyers, and we'll probably move even to a buyer's market until we get to next spring, I assume.
I think we'll tip the scale. We'll probably definitely have 6 months of inventory, so it'll be just depending
right
on
there.
the area.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. It's like exactly what you're talking about. The right home right now, it's like boom, gone, because everyone's like just kind of chilling, twiddling their fingers until it comes on. Because there's a lot of, and then I'm having a lot of conversations with sellers right now on like, hey, I'm setting the beforehand, we're going to be 90 to 150 days, like just right up. And if we sell before that, I'm a hero. But if it's in that time frame, I'm still a hero. So it's like setting the expectations at the front end. And because all these people's mental is coming off of 2021, like, oh, back when I bought this, I'm like, well, it's not that time. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday with somebody who was only willing to sign 90-day listing agreement with me. And I was like, I mean,
it's not worth it. I mean, you could take the risk.
I mean, I'll take it, but I was like, I mean, it's at a minimum, maybe 90 days. So let's talk just a little bit on the leverage that brings for buyers versus sellers. So right now it's pretty even. So you're saying that, so listener listening in, Desiree's saying basically that we're kind of in an evenly distributed market. It's not really buyers, not really sellers. We're seeing about I would say, would you categorize that as healthy?
Yes,
okay.
I would.
So a healthy market.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing for the right deal, we can get some closing costs covered. And so buyer listening, for the right deal out there, or we can find some of those closing costs, some of those incentives. Sellers' pain points are a little higher. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Yeah.
I would probably also add in that, during negotiations while you're under contract of the inspection period, you're seeing more sellers having to do the work or do the credit.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really good. Brandon, you seeing that too?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, there's not many that come out without having to do something. and I mean, buyers' expectations, even on the front end with what they want in closing costs and stuff like that,
it feels like
so.
I'm having to close deals 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah,
like
sure.
or like getting under contract, and it used to be like, all right, like I can kind of lock that away, and now it's like the second closing of the deal's inspection period. Like I got to reclose it again.
Yeah, I mean, and there's been a lot too lately. I don't know how it's been for y'all, but buyers asking for roofs to be replaced and sellers just doing them. It's just not been a thing for a long time. So
yeah,
it's
That's
crazy.
why I think we're in a great, healthy market.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily very healthy for sellers to get their way in cake and icing and everything too.
Yeah.
2021. Now an interesting thing to maybe I don't know if this is this episode or next, but like we do see rates trickling down, or at least has been promised the rest of the year and into the springtime of next year with what is the promise of Jerome Powell not being the head of the Fed and non-political at all, but Trump saying that he wants his guy, whoever that is, to be in that spot, and he wants rates at 1%, which
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic, but sometimes he shoots for 1 and he might get 3.5 and he's happy. So like that could be a very interesting conversation, especially listening in is like, what does that sort of market entail and how do we predict? What do you see with the end of this year and into next year? Do you kind of see the same thing or differing?
I mean, I think that will go down maybe about 0.5%. I don't think we're going to see a huge decrease. That affects so much more than just real estate.
Yes.
Whenever you decrease the interest rate, people are going to start pulling their money out of the banks, and that's not good either.
Yeah. I'm in the category of like, I don't think that would be good. Like that'd be not. Brandon and I would both be having panic attacks.
For sure. I do want to go back to months of inventory or months of supply, and talk about a little bit more about inventory. If you have some details on that, I'd love to know for those that are kind of thinking about different cities or different counties, where obviously we're at a 4 to 6 months of supply.
Yeah.
Where do you see the most supply? Where are you seeing like the least in Northwest Arkansas?
So Benton County has actually increased 39% year over year.
Wow.
And then Washington County, I feel like, has been a little bit steadier, and it's at 22%.
Okay.
And that's so as far as transaction volume, which is slightly different than what you're looking for, Bentonville actually had an increase of 4.7%. Springdale had 3.27% increase.
Yeah.
And then Farmington had a 25% increase in closed transactions, and Lowell was at 10%.
Wow.
The remaining cities all had a decrease in closed transactions.
Wow. That's really interesting. That Farmington one's real. I'd like to keep a touch base on. What about Prairie Grove? I guess it was decrease.
So Prairie Grove, let's see.
I feel like
it didn't make the top 15.
Okay. Well, never mind.
Probably
So I pulled the top 15.
Probably a lot.
Sorry about you.
It sounds like a lot of those new construction areas, or even more affordable areas in general, are getting the benefit right now. It sounds like
Definitely. I think that even Siloam was a study. I think they just kind of remain balanced. They didn't have a decrease or an increase.
Yeah. I guess an interesting topic to have for I'd love your opinion, Desiree, on a seller comes to you right now and you're like, hey, should I sell now or in the spring? What are you telling them at this point?
Typically, I ask them, I break it down to what their goals are.
Yeah.
Are they needing to buy right away? Because you're buying in the same market regardless.
Yeah.
If you buy in the spring, then you're buying at the height too. So it's kind of a win, lose, win. I don't know.
Yeah. Kind of having the conversation a lot right now of like people debating with what the interest rate's doing and the market, like, oh, if it's trending downwards, does that mean we're going to have a hotter end of the year? What's going to happen in the spring? And I would say it's very situational based and life based, and where's your stress tolerance on a lot of it. But, I don't think we're necessarily going to see it like hammer off and fall off, and especially with the promise of trending rates down towards the end of the year.
I think it's normal for us to see longer days on market right now.
Yeah.
And like you said early on, expectations, setting the expectations with the seller up front is key.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk a little bit about, was that all we had on, there was, how many cities increased again? 1, 2, 3?
4.
Only 4, and the rest of them decreased in transaction. I think that's very telling. I think the interesting part is Farmington, we're seeing a lot more land is easier to purchase for these developers out there. And so it's one, easier, and it is more affordable. And so we're seeing a lot of building permits being given out there. I mean, there's also, an interesting thing is Centerton, the Centerton water thing. I mean, like, what's Centerton going to look like over the next year or 2 years when they're...
So Centerton actually was one of the top to decrease. It decreased by almost 35%.
Really?
In transaction volume, along with Cave Springs at 38%.
Interesting.
And Centerton is they just announced their like new downtown like plan to make a downtown with a Walmart supercenter and
Wow.
like a downtown square.
That's one of my main points all the time. Like, I don't really know what's out in Centerton besides just driving to Bentonville. So I think that could be very helpful.
Seen too, like when I look at the rental side of things, I see there's a lot more inventory in Centerton than, say, Bentonville or the surrounding areas. And so that's probably a concern for people.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon, have you heard any more on the Centerton water supply thing, sewer water?
Not in a while. I know it seemed like it was more of a 4 to 5 year solution than a 2 to 3 year or less, or maybe more. I mean, we'll kind of see how it plays out. And it sounds like it's spilling over into other cities as well that are having some issues and things like that. But I think obviously it's going to affect. There's folks that have bought land to develop that, that are now learning that they can't develop that until things change. So, it'll be interesting. You're going to have, I think the interesting thing about Centerton is for so long it's been, still affordable, but there's been premiums that folks can get in rent out there that kind of mimic Bentonville a little bit, it seemed like. So higher rents, but still lower cost of entry.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, that's happening elsewhere at all. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. But it seems like it'll continue to help other cities around as far as price per foot and things like that. So.
I think it'll put a strain on Centerton in the long term because inventory is only going to shrink.
Yeah. It'll be nice. Did they give a timeline on the downtown? Did you saw?
I didn't dig into it, but I just saw like a Walmart center, like a super center, and then a downtown corridor they're trying to make.
That will be very much needed.
Yeah, I think it's just south of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for you, what do you think? What do you feel like is the most interesting piece of data that tells the biggest story each time you're kind of putting those together?
I don't ever feel like it's just one piece that you can just name one piece to define a market. I do think months of inventory is super important, and it tells a lot about what to expect as a buyer or seller. Do you have negotiation power? Do you not? So that would be one of the keys. Days on market is another big thing. The more it increases, obviously that also correlates back to months of inventory. And so then the longer you're on the market, the more negotiation power a buyer has.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think for investors, if you look at some of the big cities out there, Austin, Dallas, etc., one of the biggest indicators is months of supply and how much they've developed in such a short time.
Yeah.
And so now you're seeing these price cuts of 20, 30% or whatever. So I think for investors, it's something to pay attention to. How is development going in the area that you're looking to purchase in?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's simply supply and demand. Yeah. And, if you're buying in, at peak prices when they've developed, or added 50% of inventory or whatever in the last year, it might be something to pay attention to. So.
Yes. 100%.
Price per square foot and increases there too. I haven't seen any market have a decrease in that year over year. Year over year is just a constantly down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys see that leveling out or ever.
I would think that something to watch is, areas that are growing. If you're buying an older home and you're surrounded by new construction, you may not see that increase as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point right there. I think there's I've got a lot of clients that have bought in Tonytown. Let's say a lot of new construction out there. They've lived there for 3 years and they've maybe seen 5% increase in equity, maybe 10 at most. I mean, when someone can go out there and buy basically the same product brand new, it's just something to pay attention to. Are the properties or the places that you're looking at, is there a lot of development happening around that? That's good, but you may not see short-term increases. That may be longer term.
Yeah.
And something to pay attention to.
Well, like my new construction people, if they're like, hey, we really want to go new construction, I'm like, hey, let's get in phase 1 because you're going to have phase 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to the same house at 330 is now going to be worth, 360 or 370 within 2 years. And so it's like guaranteed appreciation if you're going. But like I do see the points too. If you have an pre-owned home and you're got all this new building around you, it is something to think about buying in a market. That's why a lot of my deals, like September we had 12, October we had 6, and November we're going to have 11 new construction investors on new construction homes with my client base. And it's because 1, the deal's great. 2, I mean, you just can't beat it anywhere. And as much as I thought that Lennar would be a competitor to D.R. Horton in this market, it's just kind of been
taken off.
Just Roush Coleman 2.0 versus just still big dog DR. And there's just nothing that beats. I mean, yes, it's not premier quality, but it's plenty good enough. And they're doing like some $35,000 red tag event right now. It's like take $35,000 off or get yourself a 3.8% interest rate, or it's a lot of. I see a lot of new construction controlling the pace and flow, and it is interesting. We're seeing that. I'm having the conversation with days on market. Yes, it's gone up, but the price per square foot also is still increasing. But to answer your question, I feel like we're going to continue to see the steady increase in appreciation. I don't necessarily see a world where, do you know the stat? You would be great to ask on how, like, when is our population here? Everyone talks about the population here doubling. Like, is it like a 10? Is it a 15 year? Is it a 20 year thing? Like,
it's supposed to be 2040, I believe we're supposed to be 1 million.
Okay. So that's like 15 years from now. Yeah, 15 years from now. So it's like, I tell some people, like, we buy a cardboard box right now and we might be good. Yeah. Like, if we hold on to it long enough. Yeah. But we can be smarter than that. Brandon, are there any points to wrap up section 1 here that you
I think just last to wrap it up, I'd be curious on, for investors or even home buyers, what cities you might be most excited about
Great question.
For the future?
So this may be kind of opinionated.
Sure.
But
please bring it.
I do think that Pea Ridge, Bella Vista, I also think Tawnytown and Elm Springs. Great. Reasons being Tawnytown and Elm Springs, you have 612 that's being input. And so the convenience for people who are, say, families that work in both Washington and Benton County, they can commute easily from those areas. And then as far as Bella Vista and Pea Ridge, Bentonville's traffic, is getting crazy and the prices are just continuing to skyrocket. And so going to the outskirts is where most people end up going. Yeah. If they want to live on the north end. But be affordable.
A lot of good things coming from Bella Vista and Pea Ridge right now. I'm very much on board with those. With those. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I mean,
do you see anything from like a commercial standpoint on like with this, like cities to keep an eye on? Like, do you like in your view, do you keep an eye on Pea Ridge for like commercial developments in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we need to have Nathan C. on here too.
Yeah,
he's been a big driver of Pea Ridge. I like Pea Ridge. It's not there yet. You're kind of making a bet on the future, but everything points to it growing. People are betting right now. There's a new development planned out there. I'm bullish on Fort Smith. I've done a lot in Fort Smith. It's not technically NWA, but I buy a lot there, and there's not as much competition there, and it's a steady Eddie. It's never going to be NWA, but it has a lot of growth and still a lot of
Fort Chaffee down there.
A lot of good buying opportunities there.
Yeah.
I like all the Springdale. I'm bullish on Springdale more than most people. I think that the vacancy just came out. It's like 1.5%, like decreased or something like that. So there's a huge need for housing there. So if you can get land at a good basis, that's prime for development or even value add investing is good in Springdale too.
Yeah. Desiree, I would ask as we wrap up here, if you're an investor, we have a lot of people from out of state listening in. What are your top 2 or 3 things that you're looking at in this market to confirm your gut? If you're looking at this market and looking at cities to buy, one, what cities are you looking at to buy? Is it one of those, and then what data points are you looking at to figure out where to buy?
So as far as data points, it's, if you're doing a long-term rental, you're looking at what the price per square foot is, what the growth of that particular area is. And also, I think a key point would be infrastructure, which isn't really necessarily a data point.
Right.
But if you have lack of infrastructure, you may have lack of inventory later on.
Yeah.
And so I do think that those 4 areas that I named are going to continue to grow.
Those are great.
And I do think actually Fort Smith is a great point, because coming from Florida, I've lived in some cities and people end up driving an hour and a half at some point, because it does become unaffordable to live in that major metropolitan area.
Yeah. West Fork might blow up soon.
Greenland, here we go, baby.
I think it'll be a while before we see that, though.
Highly undeveloped.
True. Good stuff, guys. I mean, don't build a pool unless you just want to love swimming. Paint is a great upgrade. Shout out Laxon Painting. What else?
Days on market and months of supply, I think, are key metrics to me, especially for investors. So I'd keep an eye out on those.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And I would say, if you're looking in this market, look for somebody to guide you, like Desiree, like Brandon, or myself. If you had your real estate license, I'd say you too. But look for somebody like us to lead and guide you and have your hand. You don't have to have all the answers, but just, if you're listening in, be aware enough to know where to find one of us. There's only a handful of us that can really lead and guide. There's 4,000 agents, and I always say there's not very many that can accurately help you buy an investment property. Now, there's a lot of great agents, but to buy investment properties, find someone like us, and we can lead and guide you to the right spot. So.
I'd also like to add in that collaboration happens at the top.
Yes.
And so sometimes we're able to work deals off market.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
Deals happen there. Desiree, thank you for episode 1 here of this little series we're doing. If you're listening, go to the next episode. We're going to be interviewing Desiree again for part 2.
Thank you.
Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and list some sponsors off here. We're going to start with Whinstone Private Lending. This episode is brought to you by Whinstone Private Lending, one of the top private and hard money lenders now serving Northwest Arkansas. Whether you need short-term capital for a flip, a bridge loan, or creative financing, they've got you covered with very flexible products to fit nearly any deal, including 100% financing. What sets them apart is their deep expertise, fast response times, and ability to think outside of the box to help investors like us close quickly and efficiently. If you're looking for a real lending partner, check out Whinstone Private Lending. Link is in the show notes. Our next sponsor is Advantage Title and Escrow. They're a local company. They do great work. Specifically, Kayla Phillips. I can speak personally on this sponsor because I use Kayla for all of my transactions. It's been 2, 3, 4 years now, and Kayla and I have done a ton of deals. We probably do between 65 to 80 deals a year together. And they do a great job. The SOPs, so systems and processing that they have over Advantage Title, is just incredible. Clients love it. They do a great job from start to end communicating. When I give a deal to Advantage Title and Escrow, I know that it's going to be taken care of. There's no second guessing. I almost am able to treat them like a second transaction coordinator to my transaction coordinator that I already have. I know that they're going to handle the systems and processes correctly as an agent, as a homeowner, as a buyer or seller. They do an incredible job of handling a transaction and communicating throughout the process. They do a great job with communication, especially Kayla Phillips over there. I would highly encourage you, if you're looking to close on a home, buy a home, if you're an agent listening, to use Advantage Title and Escrow, specifically Kayla Phillips. So you're going to reach Kayla best at 501-358-1601, or you can email her, Kayla, Cayla, at goadvantagetitle.com. Advantage is ADVANTAGE title.com. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an update.
Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for more real estate insights and behind-the-scenes content.
Have a question you want us to cover? Send it our way. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, visit nwainvesting.com to get in touch. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.